Virginia is one of the top tourist destinations in the country, with so many historic sites and theme parks. It's at the top of the list for most people visiting the United States. And right here in Hampton Roads, we have a number of those top sites. There's Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown, Yorktown, and of course, Busch Gardens. One of the top sites in Virginia is also right here in Portsmouth, and that's the Children's Museum of Virginia. On today's show, we're going to visit the Children's Museum, and we're going to talk to some of the people behind the scenes that make it all come to life. That's coming up right now on this episode of Museum Moments. Welcome to this July-August 2018 episode of Museum Moments. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. I'm standing in one of the exhibits here in the Children's Museum of Virginia. The Children's Museum is one of the top tourist attractions in Hampton Roads. And it's open during the summer every day of the week. There are exhibits here aimed at kids of all ages, but it's also a great time for parents and adults. In particular, adults might enjoy the train exhibit. This is the Lancaster Train and Antique Toy exhibit. It's owned by the Children's Museum of Virginia. They have a huge room with displays, and there are also a number of things that the public never sees. In fact, there are hundreds of antique toys that still have not been put on the exhibit. Skip Novak takes care of that display, and he is here to take us behind the scenes and to show us some really cool antique toys of the early part of the 20th century. I'm joined by Skip Novak, and he works with the exhibit department here at the museum, but he is also in charge of the Lancaster Antique Toy and Train Collection. Welcome, Skip.
No, thank you, Rob.
Now, trains are exhibited, but this is not the entire exhibit. There are things that actually aren't on the floor, right?
Yeah, we have about 12,000 artifacts in the collection.
Okay.
and of that, we have about 890 on display.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Today I've brought out a few pieces that haven't seen the light of day in quite some time. We have a number 7.5 erector set that was made in 1948. And erector sets are very unique. A.C. Gilbert is very famous for those. The very few different ways of actually identifying erector sets. The primary way is when you open them up, you could identify them by the girders right here, or when you open up these wonderful, beautiful color instruction booklets, which are just amazing. You open them up to the title pages, and then way down here is there a publication printing date, and it will tell you when it was actually published. And so these are very important to have. And we have some wonderful examples of these in our collection. We have about 9 different erector sets. This just happens to be the number 7.5 from 1948. So,
how old is the whole erector set thing? When did they first come on the market?
Oh, they came back in the 19-teens, actually. Wow. And they weren't exclusive to America. They actually started over in Europe. And A.C. Gilbert discovered those on a European tour. And then he came back to America. He was in charge of the Meccano company back then. And he kind of adopted the idea and started making them here in America. And when he took over the American Flyer line of toys, he started releasing the erector sets.
I know, but it was interesting about the book we were looking at before we started the camera.
Yeah.
Started rolling. The instructions, it's sort of like, here's a picture.
Yeah,
here's how you do it.
They weren't detailed instructions. They gave you a general outline of what to build.
And so the educational, I guess, the activity that really, I guess, developed the kid's mind was looking at the picture, looking at all the pieces, and then trying to figure out
what to do. Yeah. Well, the motor in and of itself is very unique. You get these wonderful motors, like this one, and it still works. You plug it into the wall, and the little motor starts going. And in order to operate and to gear it to what you want it to do, like if you can build a robot with this, or you can build a carousel, you would have to change the gears here to speed it up or slow it down. So it's up to the child to figure out how fast or slow to go by changing the gears.
You know, it's amazing because we think of kids as being so tech savvy now.
Yeah. This is mechanical savvy.
Yeah, this is mechanical.
Yeah.
This was technology still at that time.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where the engineers came from back in the day. I mean, these were the kids who got these and could figure this out were the ones that went on to build, design cars and build nuclear bombs and things like that. Just redesigned our world. These were the engineers that changed the face of America.
Because of this toy.
Yeah, because of these toys, yeah. These were the Legos before they were Legos.
Wow.
So and these were just amazing, and these are just some wonderful, wonderful examples that we have from early American history in toys. This is what kids would get and play with, and I love them. I still play with them. It's work. It's a job. It's work. I'm working. So yeah, we have these. We have a couple on display. We have some pretty rare pieces. So then we have this wonderful 1930s, around 1935, Marx Bunny Express, built by the Lewis Marx Company. This was, I guess, Marx's answer to the Lionel version of their hand cars that they did for Walt Disney Company. They did a Mickey Mouse that Marx did, the Bunny Express, because Lionel did a bunny hand car. So they came out with this. And this is extremely popular. This one is damaged. It's a tin plate, lithographed. It's a wind-up toy. It would cost, and it was done during the Depression, it would cost a family about $1 to $2, depending on the version that they would get. You could have bought the bunny itself for your son or daughter. And since this was wind up and it has the flanged wheels, it would come with a circle of track. And you could buy just the bunny itself, or you could buy it with the cars.
And you said the bunny was about $1?
About $1, yeah.
So this is basically when people were earning, what, a week? Maybe $10, $15, $20?
If they were lucky, if they were lucky. So
this was still an expensive toy.
It wasn't super expensive. Like, you could get it for a birthday gift, or you could get it for a Christmas gift, or an Easter gift. This one, it's really fragile. We don't really bring it out much because it is fragile. The eyes are not original. When Junie Lancaster got this one, when I saw it back back in the 1980s, these little red fake eyes had been put on it. So I know that those have been on there since the 1980s, but that they were on there. So we're not really doing too much to it. We're not going to take them off because that's how Junie had it. But yeah, we don't really put it out. We do have plans of putting this out on display in the future, because we do get a lot of requests to see it. It's quite popular. And a lot of collectors do look for this piece. So
you mentioned the Disney Mickey Mouse. You actually have some of those.
We have all of those hand cars. We have the 4 hand cars from Lionel, the Santa Claus, the Mickey Mouse and Minnie. We have the Donald Duck. We have those, and the Easter Bunny. Wow. We do have the Easter Bunny. So we can view those. Over here we have a Smith Miller International Paper Company Mack truck. That's a really, really nice piece. Interesting thing about Smith Miller, they were built for only about 10 years, from 1945 to 1955. These were top of the line trucks, and well, they made more than just trucks, but it was a Smitty Toy Company and the MIC company, the Miller Iron Company in California. And they went out of business in 1955, and then a guy named Fred Thompson, not the senator, in 1979 bought the company. He had these toys when he was a child, and around 1980 he started making them with all the old tooling. And so since 1980, he's produced 89 different toys using all the same and original equipment. And this is one of those examples, and he does them in limited editions.
Wow.
And Junie Lancaster, of course, purchased some of those. We have those in the collection. We have some of the originals from the 1940s and 50s in our collection. We have those, some of them on display. We have some of them in storage, and they're just beautiful pieces. Yeah. You can still purchase the reproductions today that Fred Thompson is making. You can buy parts for them. They're really, really nice pieces. They're heavy. They're made out of wood and aluminum. They're just wonderful, wonderful toys. Then we have this wonderful Hubley Bell telephone tool truck. It's missing some tools and stuff. It is a cast iron piece. It's really nice. It's always cool to the touch. It rolls well. It's just a fun toy. It always brings a smile to my face. It's so much fun just to pick up and play with. It's from the 1930s.
Wow.
It's around 1935, 1940. When Ma Bell was just starting to take over the world. So that's a lot of fun. And then we have this wonderful Lionel station. These things were really interesting. This was done around 1938. It's missing some pieces, some lights and a hang sign. These were done, this piece and this piece, which I'll get to in a minute, they were done to hide things on a train layout.
Okay.
You would put your transformers and stuff inside of them, and they were used to decorate your layout. So if you had power sources going into it, that's what these would be for. So this is an original Lionel piece, and it's, like I said, it's beat up, it's missing pieces. It's 70 some odd years old, 80 years old. It's just beautiful.
I know that most of these things adults collect them, but again, emphasize these were built for children, right?
Yes.
So kids would have the whole train layout, and they would use these to hide the
Yes.
pieces.
Yeah, and you can see. I mean, you can. To me, like you see, the bunny train is scarred and beat up, and you see the Bell telephone is beat up, and you even see the station is beat up, it's chipped, it's rusted. I mean, you could take the roof off, right? And you could see how it's marred, and you could, even on the face of it, it's missing paint. It's chipped.
Played with?
It was played with. It was loved. Some kid had this, and they may have gotten it when they were 8. They may have gotten it when they were 12 or 15, and they played with it. They loved it. They had a passion with, a relationship with this.
Yeah.
They grew up with this, and they cared for it. And maybe not too well, but there was something there.
Now kids are entranced with virtual reality.
Yeah, they have their phone.
But these, they're centuries before, it was objects. It was something visceral.
Right. I mean, if you have a video game system, it's made out of glass, or even your cell phone, it's made out of glass, it drops, it breaks, you're heartbroken. You have this metal truck.
And here it is 80 years later.
Right, you have this tin plate bunny rabbit with lithograph paint on it. You have this tin plate station. It's going to last a lot longer than your video game system from 20 years ago.
Or probably than you are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm already breaking down. So yeah, and then to move forward, you got this. This is an MTH reproduction of a 345 power station. This was built in 1987. It's based on the 345 power station from the 1930s, all right? You can take this little top off, all right? And inside, there is a Type A transformer that Lionel built. I'll lift the whole thing up so you can see it. There's the transformer right here. So this would be on your layout, and it's kind of black and ugly, and I mean, this still works. It's old, and it's got this cloth cord. So you would buy this at the store, or your hardware store, or whatever, and you would set this on top, and it covers it up, and it hides it. This is the smokestack. So, and then you would set the smokestack on there, and it makes it a lot more presentable. It's not going to stay. I'm just going to set it. So it makes it a lot more presentable on your layout. So when you want to turn the power on, you just reach down and you flip the switch, and your trains start running, or the lights on your houses come on. And so you don't have to worry about it, and it makes it more presentable. And that's what these were designed for. The same thing with the station. So aesthetically it's pleasing, and it's a lot nicer. So this would get banged up and look like this eventually.
Right.
So these are some of the toys in our collection.
Wow. Now, all these trains and things behind us.
Yes.
Are these reproductions? Are they antiques? Are they new?
No,
developed things?
we do not operate any of the collection. Okay. The city is very generous in allowing me to purchase new trains.
That's what all this beautiful display.
Yes. Now we do have some collection pieces in the layout. However, none of it is operating rolling stock or locomotives.
So it's the things like maybe some of the cars, the houses, that's
there are a couple cars, vehicles, and we have a couple of structures in the layout that represent the collection.
Tell us a little bit about Judy Lancaster. And I mean,
Junie is a very interesting character. He is a Portsmouth legend. Well, Junie's from Portsmouth. He married his high school sweetheart. He fought in the war. He worked for the Virginia Railroad. When he came back from the war, he worked for the Virginia Railroad. He did not like it. He wanted to work on the trains and with the trains. Instead, he was in the office working with paper.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you. I don't know about you guys out there. I don't like working with paper. I like being hands-on. So he left that and got a job working at Coleman's Nursery with John Coleman. And very famous story, he went to the World's Fair with John Coleman and they saw the Walt Disney It's Small World exhibit. So they started the Winter Wonderland, the Sleeping Santa at Coleman's Nursery. Fascinated by it. So they started that up together. And somewhere around that time, he started falling in love with trains again, toy trains, not the real trains. So he started collecting toy trains, him and Millie. And they would go to train shows and they would buy trains around here and they started traveling around the world and getting trains. And all the while, him and John would start building this Winter Wonderland collection and getting in the animatronic figures. And then John Coleman wanted to retire. Now, Junie was building Trainland at Coleman's Nursery. He was building Winter Wonderland at the Coleman's Nursery. And it started becoming big. And he was, had all of this stuff going on. And he wanted to cut back. He just had a lot going on. It's a lot for one man to do.
Yeah.
You have Winter Wonderland, you have your Trainland, you have your nursery business going on, you have a wife, and you're traveling. It's a lot. It's a lot for one person. So he needed to cut ties. He needed to cut something out. So he decided that Coleman's Nursery was too much with the Winter Wonderland. So he did the Bennett's Creek Wholesale Nursery, Bennett's Creek Nursery, and moved Trainland to Mike's Trainland. Mike's Trainland out at Bennett's Creek. And had all that going, and he had a group of men and women that supported him and would help him with the Trainland and the nurseries, and so he could concentrate just on that aspect of his life. He had the love of his life with Millie, and he had his trains, and he had his nursery business. He didn't have to worry about Coleman's Nursery or Winter Wonderland. He left that to Floyd and Dabney and Judy and Hezzy and let them take it over, and just kept carrying on, and built memories for an entire community. Yeah.
So when did the Portsmouth Museums come in possession of?
In 1996, when Junie had Parkinson's disease, and him and Millie didn't have any children or grandchildren, and they did not want to break up the trains, the collection. They didn't want it sent to their nieces or nephews or cousins or anything like that. They wanted it to go on to posterity, to continue to bring happiness to children for all ages, in perpetuity. Yes. And so they contacted the Portsmouth Museums and Foundation and thought that it would be a great partnership with the Children's Museum, since the Children's Museum had moved down here in the early 90s, around 92, 94, and did the old Leggett building and had left the Courthouse Gallery, or back then it was Courthouse Galleries, now it's Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, and had expanded, and they were getting ready to do a second floor. And they thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to get new train layout, do a whole new train theme up there, and it was a great marriage of opportunity and professionalism. So they did a second floor, they did the layouts, they did the trains. It was a wonderful, wonderful exhibit. And around 96, I came on board as a volunteer, and
in 2011, they reopened the new.
Yeah, and then we shut down. We shut down 10 years ago, redesigned everything and then.
And I love the children's museum. This is and it's not even that I'm into trains so much. This is my favorite room in the museum.
Oh, thank you.
I love this. I mean,
spent a lot of time in here.
Stand here for hours walking around studying.
There's a lot of hidden features.
Yeah, there is. And thank you for your part. I know that you had a lot to do with layout.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Well, Skip, thanks so much for taking time for your busy day to share this with us.
Aren't they cool?
They really are. They really are.
They are. Yeah.
And just one more word. I mean, this is the Children's Museum, but I'm assuming, I think you mentioned this to me in previous years, that a lot of adults come here.
Yes.
Grown men.
Yes.
Maybe older, to see these things toys that they remember from their childhoods in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
That is true. I get people in here all the time. They're like, oh, my dad or my uncle or my grandfather sold their trains to Junie or to Mike Twyford, or they sold this or that, and I'm like, oh, okay, or that was mine, or this was my uncle's, or this was my mother's, or I get that a lot, and it's like, oh, okay, well, and people want their trains back. I'm like, can't have them. they're mine now. So.
Well, thanks for joining us. And be sure to, when you visit the Children's Museum, even if there are no children in your family, if you're just fascinated by toys or have memories from your own childhood, be sure to visit the Children's Museum and look at the train and Dante toy exhibits. Thanks, Skip.
You're welcome. Come see me.
You're watching PCTV, television for the new Portsmouth.
Portsmouth on the right side of the river. Rediscover your neighbor, the new Portsmouth.
The Children's Museum of Virginia, like most museums in the United States, has an education department. And here, full-time and part-time educators work to incorporate the displays into classes and summer camps that kids can take and sort of add an educational aspect to what's offered at the museum. Everything at the museum is tied into the Virginia standards of learning. Here is someone from the Department of Education to tell us exactly what they do. I'm here with Christine Matisak, who is head of the Education Department here at the Children's Museum of Virginia. Now, a lot of people might be surprised that there are educators at museums, but actually, you guys are in charge of probably all the programs that go on here, the special things, you even feed into the exhibits and have some say on those, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit. So when we are bringing the traveling exhibits in, we'll plan some of the programming and activities that go along with that. We also plan school programs around a lot of the exhibits that we have here tied to the standards. We also take those programs to the schools and to child care facilities. We are developing scout workshops based on some of those topics and what the requirements are, all those kinds of things.
And so a lot of times at certain community events, regional events, you maybe will be there with a booth or something representing the museum.
Representing the museums, we represent Portsmouth when we go out. We always have some sort of fun activity out with us.
Okay. Now, I know that with some of the classes and workshops, do SOL still play a part of that in forming those and basically making sure that what the classes and the students get when they come here lines up with what they're learning in school?
Reinforces what they're doing, and that way they're able to visit us. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to enjoy the museum.
Okay. You were telling me before we started rolling an interesting thing about there's an art exhibit, an art section here at the museum. And of course, in most art museums, kids, no one can touch the paintings. But you have something interesting here for the kids to do.
Yeah, so here they're able to touch all of the exhibits, of course, and so they're experiencing the sculptures and the paintings as they wouldn't be able to experience in the art museum. So they're able to feel what that painting feels like, able to touch a sculpture that they wouldn't normally able to touch at a real art museum.
They get that other system so they go somewhere else. Okay.
Eyes only to touch.
All right. Well, thanks. I know you've been busy, and I know that, but thank you for taking just a couple of minutes and telling us what the educators do here. And
Sure.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Off to summer camp.
Okay. The Children's Museum of Virginia is 2 floors loaded with exhibits having to do with tons of subjects, from science and nature to the arts to life in the port city. Now there is also a room for traveling exhibits. Every few months, that room brings in a new exhibit, usually something that's been designed by a children's museum elsewhere in the country, and it is on display 2 months of the year. Let's see what's happening downstairs in the special exhibit room this month. Join me, Andre Burke, who works for the Children's Museum of Virginia, and you work in the exhibit department, right?
I do.
And what is your title exactly?
Well, I'm an exhibit tech here at the museum. Basically, if anything goes wrong with the exhibit or anything, you see a piece hanging off or something, they come and get me, and I put that piece back on there and make sure it's running the way it's supposed to run.
Okay, in the traveling exhibit room, we have different exhibits that come in. They're usually developed by other museums in other parts of the country, and they come in here for a few weeks or a couple of months. What is the current exhibit that we're sitting here in the middle of right now?
The one that we're in right now is Turtle Travels. It's one of our traveling exhibits that we have in. It's from all the way from up in New York. We're going to have it till Labor Day this year.
Turtles. So what do you learn about turtles? What are some of the things that...
Well, I really like this exhibit. You can learn just about anything about turtles, what they eat, what they do during the day, what they do during a summer's day. You know, I saw a turtle in my backyard. I was cutting the lawn, and I saw a turtle back there. And then, you know, summertime, it was a perfect timing. I mean, you know, perfect timing. People are seeing turtles in their backyard all the time, so this is a perfect place to come and learn a little bit more. And also, it puts you right down on the turtle's level. You can see things from how maybe a turtle would see it. So it kind of changes your perspective and gives you, maybe opens your mind up about, you know, wildlife in general.
And so it's a room full of exhibits here, and they're all interactive, I guess, for kids?
Yeah, they're very hands-on. It has a lot to do with reading, and also the exhibits are just as much for, you know, our child visitors and our younger visitors as they are for the parents and the older visitors. And it's a real interactive experience, not just with the exhibit, but also in between the parent and the child. It's a great teaching experience and teaching opportunity.
I noticed we're sitting on 2 trunks. I noticed there are trunks throughout the room.
Yeah.
Any reason for that? What is the tie-in of the trunks? Do you have any idea?
You know, you never quite know what you're going to get with, per exhibit. You know, sometimes there is a little bit more going into how the stuff's packaged and put together. But yeah, I mean, this is a little bit different. They've got a lot of trunks with some of them open, some of them have secret compartments in them, and some of them don't. Kind of like how a turtle
sort of carry their stuff on their back,
kind of like you never know what you're going to get with a turtle shell or a turtle. You never know, you know. So but they have their little home. They have their little place where they like to go in, and so. Just like our exhibit here, it's got a whole bunch of little spots where you can hide in if you need to. No, I don't.
Well, like this here, this is about different shapes of shells and things.
Yeah, basically, you know, going in with the theme about the turtles. There's a lot of things that I personally didn't know about turtles, but there's a bunch of different types of turtles and different types of turtle shells. There's land turtles. There's turtles that only like to swim, and there's turtles who like to switch it up. You know, depending on how they're feeling, what they're doing. So I mean, you know, this along with the rest of the exhibit, you know, kind of goes into more detail about the differences between what you might see outside. You might see, you know, one type of turtle that's in the pond one day. You might, you know, go out in your backyard in the grass and see a totally different type of turtle. So it's a lot of different information coming at you, but it's a lot of really good information, and it really opens your mind up to what's outside out there, especially just in time for the summer.
Okay. Now, you have new summer hours here at the museum, don't you? I know that you used to be closed on Mondays, but during the summer you're open?
Yeah, basically from Memorial Day to Labor Day, each and every year. We start opening on Mondays, so we open up for the whole week. So we're open the whole week, and got all kinds of visitors and all kinds of people coming in from all over the country for vacation and stuff like that. And then, you know, summer camps, summer groups, stuff like that. And we do that all the way until Labor Day. So we stay open every day of the week all the way until Labor Day, pretty much the whole summer.
And when this particular exhibit closes down, you'll be bringing in another one for the fall?
Yeah, pretty much. This one is going to close down on Labor Day as well. And we're going to, you know, pack this one up, give it back up to New York so they can ship it out and inform some other people out there in the country. But yeah, we're going to bring in another one. I'm not quite sure what we're going to bring in next. But I believe it's going to be, I believe the next one we're bringing in is called Healthyville. Okay. So that's going to be, you know, based around nutrition and health and exercise and, you know, staying healthy. So I think that's what we're going to bring in after Labor Day.
So really, if you like have season passes for the museum, you can come here every couple of months, and this whole wing of the museum is something totally different.
Absolutely. If you get a membership, we can help you out with the membership very easily. We got a bunch of very nice, very knowledgeable people at the front desk. We've got some special people behind the scenes that'll help us with our membership. But if you were to go and get a membership, you could come here anytime, any day you want. You can go in and go through the exhibit over and over if you love it as much. We're open. We extend our hours, and we're open a little bit longer. And then, if you do have that membership, you can stay in here all summer with us if you'd like to.
Thanks for joining us. Great work with the turtles.
Yeah. Thanks for visiting us, guys.
You're welcome.
Take your time like a turtle would. Just take your time, go through the exhibit, take your time and enjoy it.
That's it for our show today. If you'd like to find out more about what's happening here at the Children's Museum of Virginia or in any of the museums here in Museum City, Portsmouth, simply log on to www.portsviaevents.com. I'm Rob Lauer. Join me next time for our September-October episode of Museum Moments.